Okay. And then we'll just wait like that for a while.
Are we ready?
Ready? I'm sorry.
Stand for the flag today.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do you have any additions to the agenda? Christie?
I'd just like to get an update from Jason on the crack ceiling that we talked about a month ago.
Karen?
No.
Amy?
Yes, so I didn't announce it last meeting, but wanted to announce, so it's on record, the new director for the JDA.
Okay.
I also have a question on the new sign remote for Jason. With the signs that, when we move to that, how that's going.
For that truck you're talking about, right? Yeah.
To make it more efficient.
Christie?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Myself, no. Give a motion to accept the consent agenda. So. Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Employee time.
Adam's here to introduce two new employees in jail. Resolutions.
So Nikolai has been with us, Nikolai Epson, has been with us since June. We just got a chance to get him up here so you can meet the commissioners. Miss Hannah Bagley, has been here since September 1st. So
Where are you from?
I'm from Howard, Minnesota.
I live in Groton.
Oh, really? Good. Well, welcome.
Welcome to the county.
Glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Happy to have you here.
Hope to see you stick around.
Yeah, good luck.
Anything else?
And then Adam, you want to talk about the employee appreciation part?
Yes, I called around and we only got one place that was available to give us the date we needed, which will be December the 1st. It's the first Friday in December, which is gonna be the Alexander House in Parker. So we're gonna meet with them Wednesday to go over menus and stuff. So,
Thank you.
They did a very nice job the last time. we were there.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you for that.
Okay, we'll move on to Brent.
Thanks for taking
Thanks,
that on, Adam.
no problem, thank you.
Morning, Brent.
So I guess I was asked to be here to discuss the dispatch center as to possibly consolidating or doing some things. I reached out to Pembina and Cavalier County. Pembina County has not responded back to me. And she hasn't showed up at any of the meetings that we've had, so I don't know. I heard they're possibly out on sick leave. I guess I don't know that for sure, but I had visited.
Can I just ask, when you say meetings, it wasn't specific meetings for this, right? It was just
No, we were gonna have, yeah, I just
Okay.
said we would visit at some of the conferences that were coming up that we jointly all belong to, so that she didn't attend any of them, so I
Okay.
didn't. I did visit with, Cavalier County. They don't really seem to have any interest in actually consolidating, but they are interested in seeing if we can figure out some way to provide a more reliable type of a backup system for each other. So we're meeting with Motorola on the 16th of this month to see if there's something that can be done. So like if we can't take a call, they can see that it's also ringing, and to see if there's an option to do that where we can kind of be, because when you're dealing with one person in a room all the time, it gets to be an issue. And so it just kind of to provide a backup for us. Potentially, I don't know what that's gonna, if that's feasible or what it's gonna cost. And then there's some other issues with, eventually the radio part will probably work itself out with the new radio system, but then we gotta figure out how paging works or what how all those other things would line out. So, I don't know if you had any other specific questions or anything you were specifically looking for.
Well, we were looking, I guess.
Right, I mean-
Find out more at the coffers, if you make some contacts out there and keep looking.
So,
Yeah, I guess our concern as Brent is, the road we're going down with difficulty of getting help and potential retirements and, we have to keep our dispatch center running. So if we're not able to keep it running on our own, we kind of want to know what's out there, what options are out there. Did you ever visit with, say, like Grand Forks County or anything?
I did not visit with Grand Forks about them taking over the dispatch center, or I don't.
I'd like to.
It wouldn't be,
Hmm.
they wouldn't probably be, well, we wouldn't serve as a very good alternative backup for that. I mean,
Right.
so it wouldn't be, it'd be much more feasible for Walt and the Cavalier to work together than to try to work something out with,
Right.
so. but-
So, yeah, I
but
think Grand Forks would be more of a, what if we had to have them take over dispatch? Would that even be an option? Would they even be interested,
So,
Because if that door is closed, then we need to maybe check into other options. So I guess I'd like to know what options we have available. I think the backup plan is definitely needed. If we have, say we end up on a night when we have one dispatch and you have multiple calls coming in at the same time, I like the idea of knowing that another county could pick up those additional calls, or we could do so for them as well.
right, it would be back and forth, so.
Yeah.
So that's the option that we're exploring right now, but like I said, I'm not sure if that, what the feasibility of that is, so that
Okay.
that it's works efficiently, so.
Okay.
Just keep working, just let's explore all the options out there.
Yep. Okay.
Not just contain ourselves to these other two counties.
Right, I would check with Grand Forks to see if it was an option, if they'd ever be interested in taking on our dispatch, if we get to the point where we need that.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Okay, thank you.
And then, the other item is, this is sent out in your packet, but, I said before that, FEMA wanted all these townships to have resolutions that says that the county is doing their floodplain management for them. I'd sent this to, Kelly Cole a while ago, and I was waiting for her reply, which I got a month ago, but I've been gone, so I haven't had a chance to come here to. So she didn't have any issues with this, so I'm just looking to see if we're willing to take that. I mean, we've been doing it forever. This is more of a formality, I guess, but. So the consequences are that if we don't do it for them, they have to do it themselves, and if they don't set up a floodplain management system on their own or sign the contract with us, then their residents would not be able to buy flood insurance. Which I don't know how many that ultimately affects, but
Could be a big deal.
so, well, where it becomes a bigger deal is if somebody actually lives within the floodplain and buys a home and wants to take a federal mortgage on it and they require flood insurance and now you can't buy it, that would be an issue. Most of them, if they own their house outright and they have a choice, choose not to buy it, but that's. And there are people that, have flooding issues that aren't in the floodplain, so, but they wouldn't be able to get flood insurance either without participating in the program, so.
Okay.
So I'm just looking for permission to send this out to all the townships and have it come back, and then, you guys would have to sign off on it eventually when they come back. If that's the road we wanna go down.
Need a motion to that effect? I assume.
I don't know, maybe just
Not
consent
sure.
to, then, you can move to adopt them later when they come back.
Okay.
Signed, I guess I'm just looking more for consent to move forward with it. I guess whatever you think, I don't know
I
that.
think we should.
We don't really have a choice, I don't know.
So, 'cause you're not actually ending an agreement with them until they come back and you sign them, just
Right.
making sure that that's the road we're still going down.
I would hate to see somebody not be able to get flood insurance because we didn't take the appropriate steps, so.
Right.
I think-
And if the townships decide to, run their own program, that's their
That's fine.
option, they can do.
And Okay,
So,
Are you listening?
I say send it out.
IT,
sorry, all the all repairmen.
Yes.
We'll pretend.
You're super fast, Alan, on an email.
So,
So Ellen, originally,
so,
this was unplugged, so
Okay.
I don't know what
That's
it
all
has to do with that.
Moving
So-
on.
Okay, so the USB is malfunctioned. Ever since we got this new.
So I'm wondering if it's an audio settings.
So it's saying that the speaker changed, but it's almost like the camera didn't change. Oh, wait, maybe it did. Here we go. Thank you. Yep, thank you. That, I bet it's because. Oh, for God's sake.
You had that earlier, you blinked at us.
So this USB is struggling.
gonna say it's recording.
Is it taped?
Radio faces this one.
Is there another?
You're starting to turn
No.
yours, it must be.
Oh. I shouldn't have moved it.
Should be that. No, it shouldn't.
Let's do the right thing.
Oh, there's something.
Now the eyes are on.
Okay.
Yeah, because the owls. So now it should stay that way, right, Alan?
Yeah. I'm gonna walk away.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Alan.
thank
Text
you.
me if you need.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Getting your steps in.
Yeah, always.
we'll move on to Ron. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're looking to update our handguns, but Richie has been sick the last couple of days and he hasn't gotten me the updated estimate. So I'm gonna ask that we push this off to our next meeting. We're looking into local options also, so we're trying to get the estimates and I will have them ready for next meeting. If we can push that off till then.
Shouldn't be a problem.
That's all I have unless you guys have any questions for me.
Are we full staff now on jail and officer?
We have 2 more starting on the 4th and 5th. So we would be full staff in the jail, yes, and we are full staff on the sheriff's office side.
Why, it might be a dumb question, why are we all of a sudden getting a quicker response at high rate? Is it because we increased the pay, you think, or? Do you have the answer to that? Because it seems, and it's a good deal, I'm not saying it isn't, but it seems like we're hiring them.
I think it's definitely helpful that we have the pay bonus, the shift differential and all that stuff. I think that is word's getting out that we have those options available and that definitely is a draw for some people. So it's kind of cyclical, the application. So sometimes we can get good applications and then we have nothing for a while. So for right now, it's working. So we'll go with it, I guess.
I don't know if you read the paper yesterday, Grand Forks approved a 5% increase on their wages and everything to their employees, but their sheriff's department's on its own too. So they must be looking at what they need to do to be competitive too in their sheriff's department.
I know Cavalier Counties has increased theirs, Putnam County's increased theirs. I think if we don't remain competitive, I think we're gonna continue to have that problem.
Yeah.
So it's an ever-moving market.
Yeah,
Better be ahead of that curve.
yeah, gotta be vigilant and
The
keep an eye on
reason we got the 2 new Pembina County, the 2 hires from the sheriff's office is because we are competitive.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to see, to make sure it's working.
It
It's
is,
good,
yes. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Jason.
Right away.
You can move all of the technical difficulties.
Couple of items for signatures for permits. We had one permit application that came in late, so it didn't make it into the bundle.
Jason, is there a date set for County Road 8 opening?
Soon. Tell me what the weather's gonna do. I'll let you know. So the first item I have for you today is the application for drainage permits. First one is Philip Jowl. He's adding a new approach off of County Road into his house. He's not looking at putting a culvert into there. If he doesn't have, there's only about 40 feet that'll collect water, and if he doesn't put a culvert in it goes into his house. He and I have talked about it. He doesn't want one, so that's his choice, his cost. So, but I have no issues with it. The water board didn't have any issues with that approach going in there either. So I'll get that taken care of. Do you want to do them separately or all together?
Well, there's only
Three.
yeah, let's do them all together.
Okay, the next one is for Roger Gorder. He wants to do a drain cleaning on, well, it's a ditch clean, but it's like a separate, previously installed ditch where it moves water around the corner on 8. I have drove by there yesterday. It doesn't seem like there would be any issues. He's gonna have to watch out for fiber because there's 3 signs and about 40 feet. He doesn't want, he's not gonna want to hit that. But they are all supposed to do their one calls before they do those. Water board didn't have any issues with that one either. And the last one is one from Tarek Shanlek on number 8, just south of their home farm, and cleaning up the ditch along there to help themselves out. The water board didn't have any issues with that one. It's just all cleaning sediments that have filled into the sites, except for the actual cleanings for Phillips. It's just adding a simple approach. So for motion to approve those 3 this morning.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? We'll call for the vote. Christie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Permits are approved.
The next items are just 2 utility permits. One is from from Nodak Cooperative. That is for Murdals to cross County 1 for their drain tile system that they're putting in up on intersection 1 and 32. And the other one is from Otter Tail Power Company, just for getting underneath County 15 in Minto. I don't have any issues with either one of them creating problems for us, so.
All the permits in place and everything?
Supposed to be. Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve the utility permits?
So moved.
There's a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? No, we'll call for the vote. Christie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carried.
And the big item I have for you today is the Walsh County right-of-way ordinance. I was looking through that with the vestigial things, and I was speaking with Kelly. What we don't have in here is anything stating what we're going to do with material or items when they're removed. The crew was, and myself and Deputy were at vestigial yesterday, moving items out of the right-of-way. We're moving it onto their property. There are large items there that we couldn't move with our equipment. That'll still have to be moved out of the right of way. The issue with them is, you know, you got a camper that doesn't have tires on it, that one, I don't know if they'll get even put here, so we get pulled away. And you have a cargo van and a truck with a flatbed. So those and a forklift. All those are things that you probably need a tow truck for. And so are we supposed to move those things and haul them back to our lots? Do we charge for those things? What type of things are we going to looking at on the future? We need to, how long do we hold them? It's something that we need to decide, because there's really no clear setting on that in our right of way ordinance.
Is there anything in century code?
Nothing I've found yet. So I don't know, you know,
I mean, we charge landowners if they don't mow their ditch.
right, and they're gonna get a bill for century code for not moving their items on right away. We could charge them for that. It'll be the same thing for our time that we were there yesterday as what we do for mowing. For the time of the equipment, you can't charge extra. It's just the cost. But when you get to taking those other items, and if we're gonna have to start hauling those things back into the north lot, where they're underneath a lock and key, then it gets to be a lot more, because we don't have tons of space where we're gonna have to put these different things. And then for some of these items, if we didn't have room to put it right there next to them, then we're gonna have to take our flatbed semi out there and then have to haul things back.
So doesn't have room out there anymore?
Well, we filled up a lot of space. There's probably some room out there for some things, but for the truck and the different pieces that are basically inside a driveway space, they are out there far in the edge.
Been in contact with Bill?
Bill, I've never had any contact with.
No response, anything?
No, I've spoken with Joseph Sand on items. I tried to send him, Joseph reached out to me a couple of times, once because they were getting their forklift stuck while they're moving things. I told him I'll work with them as long as I'm seeing improvements. Their forklift is rather large. It'd be easy to get stuck after the rains we had got when they first got their letters. But since then, things weren't really moving. I was out there, I talked to them, I sent them and tried to send an email back to Joseph Sand. I got an email box full. I tried to call him, voicemails are full. So I've had since the initial contacts with Joseph, I've heard nothing. So no progress was being made. We went and moved some of the items out of the way.
Kristen?
So, Mr. Chairman, if you park your vehicle in the wrong spot, tow truck comes, hauls it away, you pay to get it back, correct? Why are we treating this any different? Why should we have to take our highway department, the time away from our men where it could be spent on roads and things that we really need to get done? I don't feel like that should have to be, your responsibility or your employee's responsibility. I think we should be calling the tow truck, having them come remove it, they deal with it. Mr. Sands pays the bill.
And Mr. Chairman, I mean, we talked before about our goal is to try to prevent this in the future. So in my opinion, we need to make it so that it's a very, strong line in the sand to say, we're not, messing around with this. You will end up with the bills. Then not, it's not cheap, but it shouldn't fall on anyone but the person responsible for being in the right of way.
So when we end up 20 vehicles right now running for things on the side, where do they end up? They all end up in the north lot.
They end up at the north lot, and we are charging a storage fee, $5 a day, which is very minimal. But it is the tow fee plus the storage fee before they can get the stuff out of the north lot. I think you have to tow them. I think winter's coming, and it's time to get some of that stuff moved. If they're not gonna move it themselves, we have to get it out of there.
Is there a time limit that they sit on there before we dispose of them?
In the lot, in the lot.
We have to send them notifications and that sort of stuff, but generally we, it's 90 days. send them a notification, but
Can we bill them back for their taxes on for the costs?
I don't believe, not on a highway, we can't, right? I don't know about if it's a right of way violation, if that, I guess that's a Kelly question, I don't.
Well, regardless, I think we've got to get that stuff moved.
Have you, just curiosity, have you checked with Grand Forks or even the state what they do?
No, well, I checked with the DOT when we had out at Boglands, out by the Mennonite church there, when there was a semi-trailer there. I called them and they said, we don't generally mess with that. So I asked him what we should do and he said, well, if you want. So I sent the deputy out there and told Mr. Bogland that he needed to move it or we would tow it. So I didn't get any guidance from the state.
And he moved it then.
It was moved, yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, so the camper that's there, you can't just pull that back towards his other stuff? I know that the tires, but the tires were fine when he moved it there, I'm sure.
You can move it without tires.
Well, I'm just saying, can't you pull it back there?
There's no real place on its property for that camper for us to tow it to right now. There's one spot out there that looks like it is a sanitation field, so we want to make sure we didn't put anything on top of that. Because we don't want to do any damage to the property when we're on it.
I don't think it's our responsibility to move it on his property.
I agree.
If it's in the right of way, then it needs to be moved off the property.
Well, I do agree to that, but we're getting our lot full and I'm just, yeah,
Well,
okay,
I understand.
yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, is it not an option to hire a towing company and have them take care of it?
We have to hire a towing company. to pull
Okay.
Big things out of it.
And then they take it to their lot and they store it. That's not an option?
No tow trucks around here have a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Denton is willing to take some of that stuff and put it at his property.
Who?
Denton.
Yeah,
Big truck.
Well, if we can hire them, get it out of there, get it out of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other little things are there, if we can't find space to put it on their land, then we take that back to our lot to remove it. And how long, or what do you want us to do with that?
What kind of stuff are you talking?
There's a drill press, there's a big, I don't even know what it is, it's like a subform type piece, like 4 of them out there. For putting things on the scale system or what it's for, but there's 4 of those pieces out there. So in order for us to move that stuff, that's paid overtime. So.
Mr. Chairman, personally, if I was a neighbor and if I saw the county just come out and shift it
I would.
20 feet or whatever, that would even tick me off more. Like, let's move it, let's get it out of there and he can pay to get it back. And we have to send a message. I just think shifting it, all we're doing is creating a bigger mess.
yeah.
Okay, us moving into our property, we're going to run short, because if this is just one site. So if this ends up a lot, we don't have that much space inside our fence that we can move things.
Can we see what Denton would take? Would he take it all?
That's a good question to ask him, yeah.
I think.
We have used Denton in the past to tow vehicles, abandoned vehicles, and he takes them to his place. He does the billing, he does the storage stuff at his place. I think that would be preferable, yes.
Yep.
If he's willing to do that.
I will talk to them.
We don't have the manpower at the time to mess with
No.
right now. He's had long enough to deal with this. Karen?
Mr. Chairman, Ron, did you get any information from the health department when they came out a couple weeks ago? Because I have had a couple pictures sent to me of rats being caught.
I did see a copy of their inspection. It was forwarded up to Kelly. So I don't know what the next steps are there, but we have gotten a couple more letters this last week. And that will be sent up to Kelly also, so I'm not, but I know the inspections were done at Nash and at Wesleyville, and there are reports for both of those places.
I don't know, I think we gotta expedite that before winter, so we get this cleared out before winter, we're gonna really have a mess there. So, I don't know how we push her Kelly or something, but hopefully she can come up with some guidance for us.
But right now, let's get that right away cleaned up. Just, we gotta be done dealing with this.
Yeah.
If he's not gonna take care of it, then let's just get rid of it. Whatever we need to do.
Okay, so we will need to adjust in our policy at some point that any of those type of things we are hauling to our lot, because it's not in our policy right now. And so we're gonna have to get that wording, so I'll work with Kelly to get that wording put into our policy, and we'll have to have a couple of meetings on it so we can enact it, but I'll work with Kelly then on some terminology that we can put into it.
And Mr. Chairman, in our lot, or if you talk to Denton, maybe someone, so that we have a couple of options versus just requiring us.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, now that we're talking in right away ordinances and stuff, we had guys cultivating up the ditches again.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if we did it or not, but I'm to the point already that, you know, we always say we can't do nothing. If they're gonna do stuff to our ditches and everything else, next time they ask for a water permit or drain permit, we deny it. Until they follow the rule of the ditch and anything else, I told you about those 2 or 3 and they're cultivated up again.
And
And we had a good thing going, and all of a sudden now it's like we don't want you to do it.
We have
Legally.
denied,
Huh?
we have denied a permit because someone
Yeah,
wasn't.
and I just wanna stress it, because I'm starting to see it again, that we gotta be
they're going
more
on the
thorough.
signs and
Yep, at denying stuff, and you know what, if you want it, if you wanna dig in our ditch and everything else, you do what we want and you plant your grass. Cause it's getting out of hand again.
About that right away on 19 going west of Fort Mill.
I haven't seen anything changing on it, so,
West of Fort Mill?
yeah, up a 19A. I haven't seen anything change on that either, so everyone's gonna have to get more letters on that one. So it'll have to be from 32 all the way over to 14, that whole stretch. So, and last year, we had the soil conservation district go out in seed areas. The farms paid for the seed, and then come spring, they fizzed it up and planted right into it. So, all we can do is have the soil conservation district go back out there, plant the grass seed again, and have them pay for it. There's no fines and different things you can do. It's only a cost. So if they don't pay for it, then you can throw in their taxes and go through it that way.
But right away on 19A, though, it's clearly marked, so we don't end up with silage piling right away again.
It will be again marked. Didn't know where it was marked, but I think those flags are gone. So we're gonna end up out there probably digging up 19A yet this fall
Really?
for that soft spot. I was starting to finally firm up, and it's gone down. It's gone backwards again. So, we're gonna end up having to dig that up and put rock in, fabric, and try to do something to shore that, because it's going backwards. Right now, the guys are out doing mastic north of Oakwood, so that crew is out there. The bridge crew is working on replacing a couple of more smaller 20s. Bridge crew is the ones that were with the skid steer. They're the ones that are out with Vestigo. And then sugar beets are starting up, so we'll lose 6 guys in the next week for taking their leave and going to work on sugar beets.
That big culvert on 8 get done.
The bridge is almost done. They have gravel, they were still doing some shoulder and ditch work, so it's not open yet. They were out there, I was out there yesterday morning, they were still out there doing some work on that. We haven't opened it up yet, so.
Looks like west of Fortville, they must be getting ready to pour that deck on there.
There's a possibility of the deck being poured yet this week.
Man, they're moving along.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They got 2 crews out there, and so they're hoping that they could still meet the times to not only do the bridge deck pour, but to pour the asphalt and have that road open yet this winter.
Really? Wow.
They're throwing the crew at it, so.
Yeah.
So that's still a possibility, but it will be like everything will be weathered.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes, but they're moving. They're making very good progress. But you have to come in both swinging and glazing for the work on these projects that they've taken on this fall. They've gotten them in and gotten them done quick. Both have mobilized extra staffing to get them in for us, so.
Mr. Chairman, do we have a speed limit on 4 Oakwood there when everybody's gonna be using it now for beats?
Yeah,
Is it posted?
It should be posted. It should be 40 foot, 40.
North of Oakwood then?
Yeah, we have our temporary sign out there as well, but, some people are questioning the speed on, but it's speed limits that are out there. Every one of our roads has a speed limit, whether they want to follow it is another thing. Burlington Northern Santa Fe just sent me an email and we're gonna get even a steeper in that Cashel area.
What?
They're going to rip out the railroad crossing on 4 and replace it starting tomorrow.
Ooh. Right there.
What?
That'll make everybody happy.
Depending on the weather?
You know, they just said they're going to do it and it'll be 2 days and it'll be open back up on the 6th. The following week, they will be ripping up the intersection or the railroad crossings on number 9, just to the west of Cashel, on 9 and 4. We don't get the choice. This is,
Yeah, they just tell us what they do.
yeah, but basically I sent back the email to thanking them for letting me know, but wrong time of year.
I would say on that number 4 to maybe send our guys out there once in a while in our truck laboratory, just so we can sort of maintain it. Some resemblance there or something because you know what's gonna happen there.
Our blade will be out there.
Yeah.
We're gonna be watching it quite often.
That's an alternative route.
Yes, and then it's not in good shape to start, so.
It was firming up nice, but it's gonna go fast.
Yeah.
We get a half an inch or inch of rain now and they start using it, by the end of the week for beats, it's gonna go.
No, Eric has been out there twice a week since harvest started, just to go. And while he's gone, Steve will go out there with the blade and address it. So, so we'll actually have a backup for that aspect to try and keep it as good as we can, so. Well, that's those pieces. The next thing is just a reminder that, and people are invited for the North Dakota Association of Counties meeting, Saturday association meetings, the meeting of the DOT and Wade Thompson. That'll be Monday the 9th at 8 a.m. So,
Is it at the convention
it's
center?
at the convention center.
Don't they usually do that on Tuesdays?
There's items, this is what we could get in for it. and then-
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't know that we've
It's
ever met
Monday
on a
and
Monday.
Tuesdays, so
Okay,
we try.
because the opening session is on Monday at 8:15, but
Yep. No, so we're trying to get it in
Yep.
earlier than,
They used to always have us late on Tuesday and we were
Yeah.
furthest county away.
yeah, the furthest, yeah.
no.
And it usually only takes 15 minutes, so it's not like
Yep,
we miss much of it.
right. And then there's a local road conference, October 23rd to the 25th, that's in Sioux Falls, that I'd like to take, Chad and Jerry to, so they can get some more information with the different signage and the asphalt processes and different things, so they can get some more education on those pieces. So just want to kind of give a heads up on that. There's a bus that's running out of Fargo, so we can get on the bus for $35 there and keep the cost down that way.
Yeah.
Last year that was probably the best convention I went to when it was held in Rapid City. So, and then being on the bus all the way there gives you time to talk with people all the way, so.
Network.
Yeah.
So, refresh me, what's on our list for that meeting on the DOT?
That's when they want to talk to us about where we're sitting for.
What projects do we have on?
We
I
have
don't remember.
our 3 bridges that we have right now.
Yeah.
That are ongoing, and then for 2024, we're still waiting on the cultural. We thought we'd have them bid out this month, but we're not sure we're going to. And that would be replacement of 3 bridges, it's supposed to be replacement of 3 bridges and removal of 3 bridges. So it takes 6 off of our 4 list. And then after that, there are 4 more bridges for replacement that we have coming out that are all funded through DOT process right now. We haven't heard of anything else for, any more bridge funding coming out through DOT as of this point in time. But there may be some more stuff coming, we don't know. I do know they just sent me an application, they're requesting information and applications for a highway safety improvement plan. For any projects that we want to do to improve highway safety. So I was gonna talk to Ron and see if there's any spots that we need to talk about and see if we can get into that system. But I just got that, they just opened that up today. And we have to have that in by December 1st, I believe, so.
Mr. Chairman, I can make a suggestion for one.
Okay.
It's, the road going through Porterville for highway safety. I mean, I don't know what it'll all entail, but people don't slow down through there, so, and I know it's been a concern.
We have, the city of Porterville bought 2 of the lights that have the speed limit.
Oh, yeah.
56 miles an hour, is that the top speed?
Top speed last year was 76 miles.
76.
2 towns?
And we have lots of little kids riding bikes there and.
I had recommended at one point to the city of Porterville to put a stop sign in town at the park. But they didn't want a stop sign in town, so they went through the process of getting these. One of them's broken when they shipped it to us, so I'm trying to get that sent back and get a new one submitted to us, but getting that company to send us back stuff is, can't get to be a bear. So I can send this one that's broken back to him. We gotta reach out to the salesman again today and ask him if he can step in, because the guys that are supposed to be doing this, we played an email tag long enough and I'm not getting anywhere. So I'm gonna go right back to the salesman and get that set up here so we can get it installed. We have our temporary ones that are out, and we talked about just, Cameron and I talked about just putting them both up when we get them. But we don't have the other one, and have Chad install, well, Chad leaves for beats, so I'll probably have to have someone else see if they want to take it on and, for doing it, unless Chad can get it done before the beats start in the next day or 2. So I gotta talk to Chad about that and see if we can just get one of them up there on the 25-mile sign, get on the west side of town, or the east side of town, we get the road construction with the bridge. Hopefully that's slowing people down for coming from that direction a little bit. But yeah, that's last year, the top speed going through town was 76.
You had talked about a road conference, and I don't know, I would assume this came to you too, Jason, but we all received something in April about from Brian Fuchs. It's on bridges in Deadwood, South Dakota, and he just put it, FYI is one of your most expensive transportation assets you have. This is a good conference for those wanting to learn how to preserve your bridges. So I'm just wondering, Ryan, or
We'll be looking at sending Ryan Logan to that.
that's October 17th through 19th
Well, that's the one here.
this year.
Yeah, there's one on October 17th, there's one that we have guys going to, so, yeah. But yeah, we ran into guys for bridges, there was one they just had in West Fargo. So, but that was last week, that all 4 of the guys from Bridge Crew went to, that was last Wednesday. But the 17th, there's a training session that's gonna be held here for roads. If I remember right, that's the roads one, that's on October 17th.
This one, there's a flyer in here, and it's the 2023 Midwest Bridge Preservation Partnership.
the
It just
other one.
sounds like something
Yeah.
we should be part of, but
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that one come through.
Chris actually sent it to us, obviously it's a while ago, back in April, but working together to promote the benefits of bridge preservation.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that one.
You had a question on the remote?
Yeah, I guess, just following up, and this is a hard time of year, I know, with signs, because I feel like 50% of the signs I see are like this on on my roads. I haven't seen them out on my county roads. I'm just wondering how that sign remote is going now that the goal was we can get down to it being a one-man job again with that remote.
It's helping. He's going out and doing a lot more than you don't see him, but I've had to create work orders for him where he's gone out and done last week, 4 different yield signs that are just gone. some of the yield signs are taken off, some of them are taking the post and everything else, so then you have to wait one call and go back to the site. He's going out, when he's out, he's clearing the tree branches from in front of our posted signs on our bridges, so it's helping quite a bit.
So it's a one-man job, like it's one person now.
Yeah, unless there's something crazy with the winds, it's a one-man job.
Is that Chad?
Chad. Yeah.
Chris, you had something?
Yeah, we're just gonna ask, I think it was a meeting before last when I asked about the crack ceiling and if we have a plan B because we're just not able to cover enough miles right now.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering if you were able to look at that or?
Yeah, if we do get to the point where we're falling way behind, what we'll end up doing is, part of it is with the crack seals. We have to do another crack seal and get one of those type of projects lined up. So the crack seals will be able to take care of a good portion. We're gonna crack seal the road. We won't be doing any, with the chips. When we hire that out, we don't do any crack sealing on that. It doesn't work with the two processes. So we'll take a look at that, see which roads we're gonna do. That'll probably be one of our worst roads, so we can not have to do that as many cracks on those, so.
So you could chip on it instead, you said, you
Yeah.
chip seal the entire road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do a chip seal on the entire road, which gives you more of a workhorse. It fills in the cracks, it fills in everything. And if we have a point where we still are having issues, we can always go to a fog coat, where we just go with a CR2P, that a lot of places use that on the top as well, where you just go across the entire road, the distributor, fog the entire road, redo your lines, and it gets in, fills your cracks, and it cracks up rather quickly. It's a product that we use in the state park, so an hour and a half top, you have the road open back up again. So if we had to, we can go and do that type of thing as well. So there's backup plans if we're not able to get things going for what we like, so.
And I would think we're probably kind of already at that point, right? Considering we lost a lot of miles that we did not get completed.
Yeah, but so next year we'll have to hit them hard, so. Yeah,
You said they're not sticking, no, what north of it?
they're working on Fuller North Over right now. They're finishing up stuff that they did.
They're just doing low spots or?
Yeah, so it's doing the big gaps where it's got the bigger cracks and things. And the highways are starting to open back up with the colder temperatures at night, so it'll make it better. But they're out there with that yesterday. And then I'm not sure who was running today, Jerry, out sick, but they were supposed to be going back over today. I'm assuming Chad is probably running it, he was the only other person that knows the machine, so.
Mr. Chairman, can we just go back to the crack ceiling a minute? Is this going to be as cost effective? I mean, if we do these other two options that you mentioned, I mean, if we start chip sealing an entire road instead of just crack sealing, or if we use this fog coat,
It costs more to do them.
obviously,
A lot more, but you get a lot more covered. With if you're doing the chip seal, you actually get a workhorse with it too, so it gives you 3 to 5 years before you go and do your mill and overlays, 7 years at the top end. So it gives you more life out of the road. And from what I've seen of the roads, the stretch from Lincoln to the west and Lincoln South are both at that stage where those will be the next roads we really have to focus on to do anything once in the overlay or chip seals. Those are the areas that
okay,
are probably our worst right now.
They're probably due for a chip seal already.
just so that's built into our budget then? Okay,
Yeah,
2024.
we have money in there for at least one chip seal out of it in the budget for the next one, so. We should be able to do 10 miles if the oil prices stay where we're at. Kind of getting crazy again, but we'll see what happens. But if nothing else, we'll just shrink the size down and we'll go from there.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Anything else for Jason? Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll let us know where we're meeting in Bismarck?
Yeah, I'll let you know the rooms once we
Okay.
find it. I don't know it yet. So
Usually in that,
I'm guessing
Upstairs
it's
or something.
underneath the stairs in between
Yeah.
the main conference and the basketball courts.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have to wait till 10:30 for the final budget?
Okay, I believe we are back up and running.
All right, we'll call the meeting back to order. Going to the final budget approval. Anybody have any questions or comments or?
First of all, I'd like to thank Christie for all the work she's put in this thing.
Yes.
I think we can all say that we've looked at the budget sort of in a different way this year, and I appreciate it. So,
It's my pleasure.
Very
I
good
enjoyed
job.
it. Yep, it was, I learned a lot and it was, I think that the numbers are, it's easy to do with the numbers. You just are, you guys know where you're at and, the state has made it very easy with their spreadsheet that we have to use, that's required. So that allows, going with that spreadsheet, that does allow, we have to put in all the data, the expenses, the revenues, what was spent this year, what was spent last year, and then what's projected for 2024. And then with their formula that they've created, they only allow 75% of the appropriations to be ending balance for 2024. And running through all of our accounts, we were within that 75%. If we were not or if we were getting close, the mills reflect that. You know, we could not assess mills with having a higher than what was allowed value.
Right.
So the mills are reflecting that, with that. First off, I think, we could go over the other county levies, since that is more of what people have presented to you guys. So in the middle of the section, that would be the health district, the historical society, senior citizens, county library, JDA, the water resource district, soil conservation district, and then the state mill levy that is required 1 mill. So that one does not have to be presented. But after I put in all of their information off of their budgets, they provided what they were requesting for their mills. It looks like we were able to reduce a few and keep others the same. And that is strictly based, I worked a lot with the North Dakota Association of Counties since it is my first year. And I wanted to make sure that I was confident with these numbers. So I did have a lot of guidance along the way, and we feel that the integrity of these numbers that was my number one concern. And I feel that these numbers reflect that. And it was a learning process for, I think, all of us. So those are strictly in and out accounts. We're collecting the levies, and each month we are sending the money right out to them. So I did revamp this page a little bit because before those balances were reflecting in ours, but they technically are just a liability. They're not a revenue account for us. And then the joint water, so we have the Red River and the Devil's Lake Basin. Both of those, they just request a set amount each year. When I was plugging in the numbers, the Red River last year, I don't think it appears that we did not collect enough mills to cover that payment. So unfortunately, that one did have to go up a little bit to get that balance back up, and then be able to make their payments that they are requesting for 2024. And then the Devil's Lake Basin, that is just a small section of Walsh County that this affects. But they presented, they want a $3,080 bill, or I'm sorry, payment for 2024. And with that, we were able to decrease that mill completely. We were able to remove it. Unless things change with them, they dictate how much they are gonna request from us. But it appears that there will be a couple years that we will not have to assess that. But each year that will get reworked with the numbers that they provide us, or they request us. So at this time, I think that we are safe to get rid of that mill for a while, and work it each year. And then we can go up to the county general. So our county general, this is all estimated balances. But we are sitting, about 4.1 million is where we will be for our county general at the end of 2023. And our budgeted revenue, that is with the state funding as well. Our expenses, there's a difference of about $60,000. So at the end of the year, there's not gonna be much fluctuation. It'll be still about 4.1, and that will be within the limit of the 75%. Of course, as we get closer to the end of the year, I will continue to watch where we're at, because these numbers are based off of what was projected on the budgets last year, and not every dollar is gonna get spent, which then would mean that there would be more money in county general. So I will be watching to make sure that that stays within the 75% at the start of the year, so we started off right. And then we'll go into, at the preliminary hearing, it was decided that with all the projects that are needed for the upkeep of the courthouse, as well as the potential jail project, that the capital project mill would be assessed. That is a 10 mil limit. The limitation is 10 mils. So that was worked into the budget. And that is the first line. And after that, the road and bridge, farm to market, county roads, all three of those are all related to the, obviously, road and bridge, and that's gonna be where the majority of our money is spent. They have their own mills, so that is where we're sitting with those. The county emergency one is also a mill fund, but that is strictly used for like natural disasters, or there are very specific reasons to use that money. And because of that, the 75%, we will not assess a mill for that again this year. We have not spent any of that money in a few years, so unless we need it, we won't be assessing that as well. Veteran services, that one was probably the biggest one that had the biggest reduction. That is due to, I think that David has been very conscientious on his spending. And with that, the less you spend, the more money you have in the bank, which means the less mills you have to assess. And so we were able to decrease his to less than 1 mil, where prior it was 1.5. And that calculation does show that it will, I have all faith in these numbers due to the state's formula that they give us to use. So that one was the biggest one. County agent also, their balance was, again, they have lost, and then, they have turnover, so they have salaries that are less, expenses are going out less now because of that. So we were able to drop that one as well, down to 1.55. And weed control was able to stay the same. Besides that, I don't know, we didn't do any other cuts prior to this at the preliminary, what was presented, that stayed the same, and I don't remember what that was, but that was about 10 mils that you guys did cut. I believe it was over 600,000 that we originally had cut, so that is reflecting those cuts there. And the mill value has gone up also just a hair. What happens is when we work these numbers at the beginning of the year, we do not get the centrally assessed property values from the state. So that's all your railroads, pipelines, any of that stuff. So we cannot input the updated data into our system to calculate that. But since the preliminary, we've gotten that, and I've been able to punch those numbers in. And so it is just a hair maybe $300 or a couple $100 more. But that is, it's not final until December, when the state decides that they are not gonna raise it again. They still have to approve their budget. So those centrally assessed values, they can adjust things along their side, but as far as the county, and if there's no changes from the state, that is where the mill value will be as for 2024. I don't know if anyone has any questions or,
What is that state mill levy? What is that again?
so that is for the medical, the state medical mill. We have to give 1% to the, I believe it's UND Medical Center.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, so it's, that is a guaranteed 1 mil, as well as the Garrison diversion, but of course we don't, that doesn't apply to us. But those are the only two levies that we are required to give the max levy. Any other levy, we are actually required by legislation changed a few years ago, and we actually have to go by the dollar amount that we are presented instead of the mill. People, anybody, the townships, all that, they have to actually give us the dollar amount that they need for their budget to flow instead of how many mills. And that is, in an effort to keep the mills down. And that's a thing, I'm sure legislation put that in place for that reason. So with that, that is what these numbers are reflecting, is their actual budget amount that they requested from the state, from you guys. So.
Mr. Chairman, Chrissy, obviously this is my first budget go around, so very eye-opening, but I just look forward to what you do even in this next year. It makes me look forward to see what you do when you talk about department heads and doing this earlier and really getting a sense based off of that, with your ultimate goal being that we can go down. I just appreciate having you at the lead of that, so that.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it, and I also, things have changed so much within the state and the requirements, that I think that some of, even all the way down to the township level, how do you do a budget? What, even the parks and all that, it's such a daunting thing because you don't really have any direction. So what I would like to see is eventually getting to a point where I can go and educate them, have them come in, give them what their numbers are to get their budget started, and they will know their expense. They know what we need from them, just so that so they're getting what they need, with.
That should be a township association.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yes.
Association, that should be in the.
Yes, I agree. I just think that our local
Right,
guys,
yeah.
they wear many hats, and if I can give any guidance, that I feel that's part of my job, is to help them,
Make it easier.
make it easier for them, so that we make sure that, we are only, giving the proper mills, the mills that they do need. Cause it's easy, let's just do the same as last year, but, depending on what the expenses were and the revenues, it is a good thing to look at every year, and I'm hoping to get to that point. It might not be this year, it might be next year, for the next budget cycle, but that is my ultimate goal, is to get out there, even with the parks. Because, it's a one-man show, usually those people are just volunteering and they have their own jobs and all that, and how do they know what to ask without having any guidance? So, I like the numbers,
And hopefully you do it once. It's not like an ongoing, if you can train them once, that's something then they can take and keep going year after year.
Yep, exactly. And even if I just send out a letter and don't do, a sit down with them or anything like that, but just send out a letter, guidance on where to find these numbers. And it really is just your popping numbers in the spreadsheet, and it's figuring it for you. So it does take a lot of the guesswork out of it, and then it's less intimidating, I think, is if you have, you need your start number and what the year was prior, and history usually repeats itself, and I'm hoping to use this to educate them as well.
I think that state spreadsheet is a great tool.
Absolutely.
And just going through different minimal decreases that we were able to make, or you were able to make after using that spreadsheet in the mills. Based on what I'm looking at, it looks like the preliminary budget, we were going to have to assess 133.28 mills. Now we only need 130.27, so it'll be a decrease of 2.9 mills.
Yeah,
So, I mean, a little bit here and there adds up.
yeah, and that's what that state spreadsheet is meant for, is to make sure that, we are only assessing what we need. So yeah, so originally at the preliminary, it was an additional 10 mils. So now it is actually 6.99 mils is what, the increase will be for this year.
And I think maybe this would be a good point to talk a little bit about that capital mill fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so that, you know, we're all on the same book and page here, we did establish that fund, you know, where we are collecting the 10 mils for capital projects. But it's been brought to our attention that, you know, when we're doing this, we need to clarify what those 10 mils are going to be specifically used towards. We need to have kind of a project in mind. So with that, I'd like to make a motion just to clarify that the 10 mils we levied for the capital project mills would be designated to be used for the $5 million HVAC bid we have or the potential jail.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. Chris,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carried. Todd, do you have any questions on this?
Just, Karen Koff there, when she was going over the mill levies, did you say the mill levies were down or?
So originally, the preliminary was, preliminary was 10 mil increase.
Yeah.
And it is now 6.99. And I hope, this state, I did print it out and give it to you guys to look at, because I feel that it's really an awesome tool to use. And I am hoping to actually use this with the department heads as well, so that they can see how the numbers are actually affecting, what affects, you know, so that we can maybe make some, different, you know, our goal, and we maybe need to shift where we're at, and educating on how to do that is, you know, little steps at a time, and
You know, when you brought up the township and sort of getting them into this process, the thing that scares me sometimes is you just look at that last project, and thank God they took that out, but they said the townships wouldn't get the money unless they levied the, what is it, full 16 mils?
Yeah.
Well, in one breath, you're telling us not to tax, but yet you're telling us to tax so you can get this. I hope you don't go that way.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think our townships try to do it, and face it, a lot of them could use more money, but that's the least we need to do, is to tell them that they have to budget for 16 mils.
Yeah, exactly, max it or you lose
Yeah.
any state funding, that,
So, and that's,
I
you
have an
know,
issue with that.
yeah, so hopefully they don't come up with that again, after we do all the hard work of teaching them and being more conservative, and then all of a sudden say, you gotta do it.
Yeah, and maybe not even conservative, just more accurate.
Right,
You know,
right.
so I think that, I mean, obviously I doubt that there's a bunch of entities that are sitting with an abundance of money, but just so that it's, budget season isn't quite so daunting for everybody, because you can enjoy it, can't you? I mean, I do. It's, so anyway, but yep, so I'll be watching the numbers, making sure that as the year, as we come to a close, that, our expenses and revenues can continue to stay where they're at, so that this can be set, so.
So we need a motion to accept this final budget.
So
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on it? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? None? Call for the vote, Karen,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Ernie,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carried, budget accepted.
Double then, Christie.
Yes.
Great job, everybody.
Yeah.
I think that day we sat here and found that 600,000, how many hours we spent here. So I think along with Christie, everybody did their fair share, that's for sure.
For sure.
And it's just knowing the process and
Yeah.
how to,
And like I said, I learned more this year than I ever have. Because of what the numbers, I kept picking on you, you're throwing numbers all the time, but it was worth it, it really helped.
right, that's right.
And I know, I feel much more comfortable that we started this capital mill fund now, because we have big projects coming at us and we need to be prepared for them.
Yeah,
I think people will understand why too, if their taxes went up, $100 or $200, then that is new in there, so just to remind them that.
Yeah, so they don't think that it's for, because we raise salaries or we get this or that, it's for
It's gonna be designated.
designated.
I had 2 or 3 phone calls questioning why it went up so much, and I forgot on the first call that we had that 10 mil increase. So I called him back the next morning, and he said, what's it used for? And I sort of explained it to him. Had no problem with it. As long as they know what we're doing, and like you said, we designated it, I think they'll accept it.
Transparency.
and what bothers me with those estimated tax statements, it says an increase, but that's due to the value of their house increasing. So it's not just, I wish that they were separated. This is an increase because of your increase in your value, and this is because of the mills
Which
that
is-
are affected.
Which is great, because if anybody wants to sell their house, their land, then their value is up.
Yeah.
Don't put your pen away yet, Todd, we got
So,
some unfinished business, but
I just wanted to make sure I announced so that the whole commission is aware, we probably already are, might have been in the paper, but I apologize. The JDA did hire a new director, so Stacy Sidney is now functioning as the new JDA director. The regional council will be refilling her position, they potentially already have. We have a meeting tomorrow, they'll announce that, we don't know, but she'll be a wonderful fit for our JDA and is already kind of moving on it. So a big relief, I know, for the board to have that filled in. The joining with the regional council has been a positive, so far. They just really have their handle on things and.
So is she just taking our county, or is she doing?
She's the Walsh County
Just
JDA
Walsh,
director. Yep.
When I read that, I was hoping it was, and I said, well, maybe she's doing it for the JDA, and it was just, the way I read it, I didn't really understand it, so she's actually our.
She's the new Angel French, that
Okay.
was, and then Stacy's position prior will be filled.
Phil?
So she's not doing both, but she comes with a lot of experience.
Stacy will be good.
Very, very good.
So when people call, they used to call here for Walsh County JDA. Now, do they know what to call the Red River Regional Council, or how is that all being handled?
I know they've been doing transferring over. I mean, they're really on top of the IT stuff. So my guess is I can clarify with them and let you know, but my guess is they're just even doing the transfer so that it just bumps right over to that regional,
Okay.
still under Walsh County JDA, but just,
yes.
under their roof, if you will.
You bring it up that she started now, and we have sort of had a lax there when Angel quit, because of our webpage and all that. And I haven't been in there, it'd be nice to see all that little taken care of and a little more clean, because I hear from people it's cumbersome and they can't do this.
The website for
Yeah.
JDA, you mean?
Well, even the county one, so they're tagging and everything else, and Angel was doing part of the county one. Maybe if you bring it up to her and see if Stacy can sort of, clear it up. I don't go to it a lot, but I get that from a lot of people. They go in there and all of a sudden they can't find it and they get out. So it'd be nice to have that more user friendly.
And
Yeah,
be able to post
Angel
more
started
stuff.
that
Yeah, and then-
website, and then she
And I
left and.
think put a lot of time into it, and
Yeah.
that might be a question too, is that her job? For the county wise, like the JDA website
Yeah.
maybe, but I think she ended up in a little bit deeper than that she could handle with all the other things she has on there, so I'll bring it up and
Bring
just
it
see
up,
what
see what,
feedback
see what they
have.
wanna do. Cause we appreciate the help if they wanna continue to do it.
Well, and also to really push it on the website too, the JDA website, even if that's what's gonna happen. Or somewhere on the county, I'm sorry, Facebook page, because I just clicked onto it now, and of course, if you don't have that new web address,
You don't find it.
you don't find it.
So is she effectively started already, or?
Oh, yeah, she had begun even for our last meeting, so it's been a few weeks, maybe even close to a month that she's been going. So, yeah, I've already gotten an email being on the board. She just picked right up, which is another huge plus for not needing to train. And I mean, we already had a lapse long enough, so it's nice to have someone who's familiar with the county and the programs and, yeah.
Anything else to be brought before the commission?
I was just gonna ask Amy, I know the Red River Regional Council, like with Nelson and Pembina County, they contract with the Red River Regional Council to administer the JDA. So is Walsh County contracted with?
Yes.
So I guess my question there would be, why didn't we just contract with the Red River Regional Council? Why do we need a director and somebody, the Red River Regional Council why wouldn't Stacy just administer Walsh County's program? Why would we need a contract with the Red River Regional Council if we have our own director?
So all those counties have the same setup. So they have their own director and the regional council is kind of the umbrella over it. So like Lori Easted does all of the accounting that we ended up outsourcing to Hurt Mortensen and Rigg for a while. Now regional council does that. All of the administrative things, Lori Easted, under Don Matt takes care of all of that. So they're kind of the umbrella that supports, which was the other thing that one of the reasons I think Stacy even applied for it was knowing that she had the support of the regional council in addition to other directors that then meet. So they're working together instead of someone on their own trying to figure out a path. So it seems to be kind of the push of just, whether it's the support, all of the things that I've seen that Lori Easted does over there. There's just no way. I mean, Stacy would be deep within just trying to figure out QuickBooks and the balance and the money or the number side of it. And that's what's worked really well for Pembina and Nelson. So it seems to be a really good fit to have them as the umbrella and then a director to focus on the programs and move things forward.
Because I get asked that a lot, and that's one of the questions, it's like, so.
Yeah,
It makes sense the way you explained it, that way I can explain it to other people.
Yeah, I know Angel felt like she was on an island when she was here, and when she would deal with the regional, that was one of the things she gave feedback, and even now since going to Pembina, she just said it takes a huge weight off of their shoulders to have a lot of that administrative and those things taken care of, so that they can focus on the things that they're hired for.
So Stacy can still write grants, can't she?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
That's what
absolutely,
we're
and
doing
she's
there.
made that point, that's probably one of the biggest
Yep.
positives with
Yeah, she's done a lot of it, so that's a good plus.
Other story there.
Anything else for the commission?
Oh, yeah. Apologize, I'm late on to that.
If not, we will adjourn.